The power of computers will roughly double every 2 years, while the relative cost goes down.
As much as I can enjoy a day like Tuesday, where the radical left lunatics, maniacs, and perverts had me indicted and arrested for no reason whatsoever.
Kanye West used to be the most unstable West, but now, to be honest, just the West is as unstable, if not more unstable, than Kanye West.
And in a break from our publicized programming, we now go live to Punk Politics with Aid Thompson.
Welcome back to Punk Politics. I'm Aid Thompson. We live in very strange times, guys. Times where the winds of change blow harder than a blowhard blowing a... well, never mind. But things are changing dramatically, and the things that are changing are doing so faster than they did at any other point in history. Technology has moved faster in the last 25 years than the 50 years prior, while British society, think of how little it really changed from like 1830 up to about like 1920. I mean, some would say that for some of us, things haven't progressed even that much up until now, but... Good God, it's cold in here. Can we put the fire on? No, sir. No, there's a chimney sweep still up there. Oh, I don't care about that. I can barely feel my fingers. Well, no, we can't do that. That's murder. Oh, what a load of rubbish. If he's smart, he'll find a way out. Oi, what are you doing down there? No! But still, it is inarguable that across society, across technology, so much has shifted. And politics too has become more volatile in the last decade than what feels like for the entire century before. Indeed, every facet of life is either progressing or unravelling at a startling rate, measured best in elons. Given he went from a half-respected technologist to a reportedly very well-medicated free speech authoritarian in record time. I mean, I know we're all supposed to get more conservative as we get older, but what was his transit? I mean, it was like 312 weeks or one light musk. Anyway, as we sit right in the eye of the hurricane of all of this change, sometimes it's best to just, try and take stock. Hold up a minute, just relax. And then, with a cool head, then observe how vastly things are changing and how fastly they have done so. So that then you can have the mental breakdown that you yearn for, safe in the knowledge that you've really considered things and that it is the correct response. Lest people tell you you're being hysterical, which, when they do, I'm always like, I don't know what we're going to do, man. Robots are going to wipe the floor with the labour market, and politics is just going to get more divided. It'll probably end up with an orchestra of different civil wars, all playing out simultaneously, or more locally, just in sectarian violence. And also, climate change is rendering the Earth uninhabitable. Oh my God, you're hysterical. Hysterical is the correct response to these things! Anyway, I thought let's take a minute, let's just calm down, and then with a cool head, let's observe how much things are changing right before our tired, bloodshot, and weeping eyes. And then, as a sort of cheeky bit of dessert, like the kind of happy story they round off the bulletin with, then we're going to look at what's likely to come next. Are you ready? Then I'll begin. First, technology.
But it all comes down to computers communicating. And in fact, that's already happening on something called the internet.
Because in the last few decades, we've gone from making interweb pages clickably linked to one another, from phone calls to emails, from emails to instant messaging. Mom? Is this you? When did you come on MSN? It's just easier to communicate with you this way, Adrian. You were a hard child to love, and we would like you to move out. From basic maths to legit artificial life forms you would almost believe were a real person. Like, if you think how fast tech has progressed in the last 25 years, and then think how slowly it progressed the 25 before that, well, that should give you a picture as to how insane things are going to get in the next, half the amount of that 25 years. You still with me? It's moving super quick in a shorter amount of time. It's like, if you want to read on how quickly things are progressing in shorter and shorter amounts of time, think of it like this. You know how humans tend to get grumpier as we age? I think that's fairly widely accepted, isn't it? And then think about how time feels like it's passing quicker the older you get. Well, technology is progressing as fast as your father is getting grumpier. And if you want to read on that, right, spool back. Think back to when your father was a child. Those photos that you've seen of him. Like he looked pretty happy in the photo, right? Now spool forward 17 years and he's a teenager. And think of how mischievous he probably was around then. Like, not as witlessly happy as he was when he was a little kid, but still pretty fun, I think. Now spool forward to his late 20s, right? He's out in the music halls and the Cavern Club or whatever, listening to Merseyside bands. He's not always smiling, you know, but still, he's enjoying himself. Sometimes he feels down, but broadly he's happy. But it's like, in his 20s, he had mates. In his 30s, he had bills. In his 40s, he's got 3 kids and an angry wife. He's seen the same things happen politically 3 or 4 times by now. He knows nothing's ever gonna change. He's fed up with being broke. But time's moving faster. Before he knows it, he's 50. And he's noticeably more tired, more angry and moody. And it keeps moving faster, and in the blink of an eye, now he's 70, complaining at the post office, then moaning to people on the bus about the people in the post office. But before he can reach the end of his sentence, he's blinked his eye and he's aged again, and he's about to have a rant about that. It's like, he's just enveloped into a space-time vacuum of eternal resentment. That's time, moving more quickly, progress happening faster in shorter and shorter increments of time. I mean, it could also be that your dad was fairly happy until you came along and you've made him progressively more miserable.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But assuming it's not that, then it's the same or similar with tech. Because from 1970 to 1995, there was progress, of course, but not with the speed that we've seen of late. Moore's law suggests that typically the number of transistors on a chip doubles every 2 years, or 1 McAfee, meaning circuits and processors will speed up again and again. Meanwhile, the cost of those transistors typically halves over the same period, which means that tech progresses more quickly, but also that it becomes more affordable, and that empowers software engineers to do more complex things at a faster and faster pace. I mean, there's talk that if things continue to progress at this rate, soon there might even be a smoke detector that you can just tell it that you're cooking. Oh, will you shut up? It's bacon!
Oh my god! Well, that'd be incredible, wouldn't it?
Or imagine if there was like Experian integrated with Tinder and Bumble, and then women could see a little like green, orange or red flag for men with unfuckable debt problems.
Women would save themselves a lot of problems, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Or imagine like if you got Tinder to read your internet search history, and then it could match you with someone with a similar set of kinks, you know?
No. I don't feel comfortable sharing my interweb history with nobody, no.
Right.
I just feel some things are better kept private. Yeah.
Anyway, so things have moved quickly and then more quickly in tech. It's the reason that you started by writing out boobs on a calculator, but now you don't even need to type it into Pornhub because it's read from your cookies and your internet search history the kind of things that you're into.
Wait, me what? It's read me what?
What is your problem? But of course, it's not just tech that's changing this dramatically, this radically. Politically, you may have noticed that things have shifted a bit. Because Western politics was, until relatively recently, a fairly civil and delightfully boring business.
My honorable friend here is proposing the retirement of the TGA fund, which I'm concerned might have a detrimental impact on the sign writing industry, though perhaps there's something I'm not understanding. I'll stop talking now and allow this gentleman to share his thoughts respectfully.
I thank you for your respect, and it is indeed with respect I disagree. And of course, I'd be happy to explain where our ideas overlap and diverge, perhaps after we've shaken hands here, and if the good gentleman would join me and my wife for dinner and a spot of fornication thereafter.
And maybe it's rose tints, but it feels like in the US and Britain things kind of drudged along on the fumes of civility and stability throughout the 60s and 70s, the 80s and 90s. But gradually, politics did become more erratic. And so then from 2016 to now, it feels like it's sort of deteriorated in half the space of time. Every juncture, you know? I mean, tell me it hasn't. Tell me it hasn't when we've gone from respect and civility to...
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
I'm like, yeah, that seems a lot.
I don't know why.
Well, maybe it's not all bad.
We elect Keir Starmer in the next election, Britain basically will be on track to be Venezuela.
We're going to make America great again. We are going to get rid of these lunatics.
Honestly, it's like it's summer fair at New Bedlam Asylum now, isn't it?
We are going to get rid of these lunatics.
We are going to get rid of these lunatics?
These lunatics.
These lunatics. Really? The Democrats are the lunatics? Lunatics. I'm like, which lunatics again?
Hate marches and invasions and woke stormtrooper, pleb fuckers.
Like, truly, we've gone from boring to baying, haven't we? We've gone from quiet to riot, from stability to the clearly unstable. Like, honestly, if you think of Britain and America as Brittany and Erica, like, just take a step back for a minute, like, pan out. How quickly have Brittany and Erica deteriorated psychologically? Like the British and American psychosis has come on so aggressively, so obviously, like, frankly, it needs medicating. It's just a shame that the overlapping anti-vax quarters would be so fervently, so frenetically against that.
I get sick, that's an act of God.
What came first, COVID or the vaccine?
No tyranny, otherwise take the Statue of Liberty back to France.
It will change your DNA.
Because honestly, it would be like, ma'am, you appear to be in a hypermanic state of radicalized delusional psychosis. Oh my God, really? Yeah. Could you take 2 of these and you will be back to driving your kids to soccer practice and book club Tuesdays before you know it. I'm not taking these. What are these? You're trying to get in my mind, aren't you? Who are you? Fauci? Is that you? Like, honestly, it's just sad, isn't it? Like, do you ever see interviews with these people where it's just like somebody's mom, you know? Somebody's mom lost to InfoWars and Breitbart watch parties on Facebook. You know, it'll be like her name would be like Amanda Miller, former apple pie American, homecoming queen who's aged a couple decades or quades. And now here she is on Newsmax, babbling paranoid nonsense through crayon-colored dribble, like, so, do you think Donald Trump facing justice is a good thing for America? The only justice I want to see is when 45 gets back in and we can hang the Bidens! Hang the Bidens, everybody! Like, I see that kind of person crop up on a Twitter clip, and I'm like, she needs to be sedated. You know, like, she wants another 4 years in the White House. She needs 5 weeks in the Priory. Hang the Bidens! Or however long it takes to come down off the Mania and Mountain Dew. It'd be like, excuse me, ma'am, could you just put down the flag and take a couple Xanax and just read to your kids? I don't take medication, all right? You really don't take medication, like, for anything? Like, never? I get all my medical advice from POTUS, from 45, construct the gallows! Like, that is how insane America has become. Like, it's got more and more crazy in half the amount of time every year. Like, I reckon if you showed 1993 Americans how crazy 2023 Americans are, honestly, like, I reckon they'd be like, oh my God, does the crack epidemic, it gets this bad? Because it's wild to think that significant chunks of a 300 million population country would believe a demonstrably ignorant and scientifically unqualified president who stood up at a podium and talked about injecting bleach into your lungs and who told people to go and take hydroxychloroquine, that guy gets listened to. Like, that's your source of truth? For medical matters, really? No, I don't listen to medics about medicine. I'm gonna listen to this guy. I'll take a triple shot hydroxychloroquine, please. And then we cut to 3 years later and it's like, 17,000 people have died from taking hydroxychloroquine. Like, it's so darkly funny, isn't it? Like, I don't want to be cruel. I don't want to laugh at anyone who tragically died, obviously. Of course I don't. I do feel bad for their families. I do feel sad for all their kids and the empty chairs at Christmas. But if there is a silver lining to all of this, and you have to see the upsides, guys, then I really think that the upside is this. If your mum or dad were dumb enough to listen to Bleachy Win Bigley over here after he tried to watch a solar eclipse with his naked eye, if you're dumb enough to listen to that guy over qualified doctors, I mean, it may be that the purpose of your mother or father's life was to bring joy to others. Maybe wake up and smell the confetti. Besides, what do you care? Your dad fucking hated you. You didn't see how happy he was in his 20s? But you kids stole his joy. But we do have to take our smiles where we can.
Can you name me one thing that works better now than it did 14 years ago?
Because seeing how fast our democracies are descending into lunacy is not a joyful business for any of us. I mean, to me, it feels like those Thursday nights checking in on my granddad. You know, like every week you see him deteriorate further and faster. It's like if the US was my granddad, it would be like, look, I love you, America. Really, honestly, I do. But honestly, I can't lie. Every time I check in on you now, it's like you've lost a few more of your faculties. What's that, Granddad? You going to say something? You could maybe tell me that you love me one last time, one last sentence before you're robbed of your sentience? Communists, Marxists, stole the election! Oh, great. Of course, here in the UK, we have our own issues and challenges, and they too are growing to be more exaggerated and amplified as time moves on. But nothing over here quite eclipses the bedlam of a divided and rabidly frothing United States. Where like what was it? Like one of my commenters put it really, really well the other day. Like they were saying like, it amuses me that right-wing Americans claim they need their guns to prevent tyranny, but here they are almost ready to use those guns to put Trump in power. I'm like, yes, that is exactly it. Like they're all so drunk on guns and Americana, they're honestly willing to fight for their right to install the tyrant. God bless land of the free! And it's like, yeah, I mean, what could be more free than that, guys? I mean, a lot of you fake patriots out there, you know, you talk a good game with, oh, everybody should have a vote, freedom of expression this, and equal rights that. You know, you talk the talk, you lot, you really do. But would you still celebrate freedom if that freedom were used to implement tyranny? Yeah. That's what I thought. So if technology is moving faster in a shorter amount of time and politics is getting more insane in quicker increments of time, or Desmonds, where do we suppose our world is currently headed if our techno-political trajectory continues to adopt a Moore's Law rate of progress or regression? Well, here's my prediction, guys, if you will indulge me. If tech is moving into a more intelligent and humanoid form, and if humans are regressing into indisputable insanity, I think it makes sense that humans who wish to survive will be forced to adopt robotic characteristics, either to camouflage ourselves from the, murderous gaze of robotica, which incidentally would make a fantastic off-Broadway show name. Or we'll have to pretend to be more robots to convince one of the ruling robots that we're one of the ones worth keeping. Like, I know he's human, but he's not as bad as the rest of them, you know? End up like a human herding the enslaved humans. Like a sort of Uncle Tom of automation or some shit. And honestly, I think that's why you're seeing this new influx of humanoids, of people who talk, act and behave like a robot pretending to be a human. Because there was the Maybot, there was Elon Musk, Now there's Silicon Valley Sunak. No, he can't work a chip-in-pin or contactless or rudimentary tools. He'd reveal himself. He needs to appear way too advanced for that. He's pretending to be a cyborg. Those tools would make him look primitive. Because these are high-profile individuals, aren't they? They're world leaders in their fields, but they possess all the empathy and social skills of a smart kettle. It's like, Prime Minister, what would you say to people who suggest you simply don't care? Or indeed to the people who complain that you have created a society in which it's impossible for them to operate? Well, I would say to them, maybe try rebooting, you know, to turn yourself off and on again. You see? Smart. Either be a deep fake AI clone of yourself or pretend to be to survive. I think if you want to make it out of the 2020s and into the 2030s in one piece, guys, you're going to need to start thinking of ways to fool a robot into thinking you are a robot. Access pending. Are you a human? No? Access granted. I'm serious. Like, you're going to have to find ways to convince a robot that you are a robot just to survive. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. That might mean you have to have sex with a robot, which might sound horrible and clinical, and it might not be your bag, but honestly, it's about not being found out. And say what you like about Grimes' music, but I think she was ahead of her time on this. Way ahead of her time by at least like 2 light musks or 15 quays. Whatever.